Hi, I'm David Vinjamori, and this is brand new for March 15th, 2018. In brand news today, Slash Gear reports that Buick is removing the Buick nameplate from the trunk of 2019 model year cars. Buick spokesperson Stuart Fowle told Chris Davies that the decision was made for global consistency, but is also backed by research that indicates the Buick Tri-Shield logo is very recognizable on its own. The brand also is introducing a line-topping trim range called the Avenir, named after a Buick concept car from 2015. All of which is interesting because most Americans didn't know that Buick still makes cars. Apparently, though, the Chinese love them. Android News reports that Google is planning to rebrand Android Wear as Wear OS. For those of you who don't know, Android Wear is a version of Google's Android smartphone operating system designed to run on watches and other wearable devices. This new brand name is designed to appeal to everyone who has ever dreamed of wearing an operating system. Tropicana has just announced a new line of fruit juice drinks for children called Tropicana Kids. The drinks in watermelon, mixed berry, and fruit punch flavors are organic and made with 45% real fruit juice and filtered water. Tropicana says there are no added sweeteners, no artificial flavors, and that the packaging features a clear panel so moms and dads can see the goodness inside and feel good about serving Tropicana Kids to their children. It's a great insight because when I give my 2-year-old a box of watermelon juice, it is the pink color that reassures me that I'm making a good parenting choice. USA Today reports that the Scientology network debuted on Monday evening, marking the controversial church's first major foray into television. The network will be available on DirecTV, Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, iTunes, Google Play, and the Church of Scientology's website. Asked why they were making this move into television, a church spokesperson said, "The answer is on page 150. In other news, PepsiCo is launching Drinkfinity, its first e-commerce only brand. Consumers first purchase a vessel to which they add water and pods that may contain both dry and liquid ingredients like chia seeds, oats juices, alfalfa, spinach, and broccoli. Lego was voted the strongest brand in the UK in the annual UK Superbrands ranking. In an unrelated move, the 2018 Superbrands ranking report is now only available in self-assembled kits of 761 pieces that cost $79.99 each. In our main story today, we'll look at Best Buy. The Wall Street Journal reports that Best Buy and other retailers use your returns against you. The big box electronics store uses a company called Retail Equation to monitor return merchandise. Retail Equation, which performs a service for a total of 34,000 stores in the U.S., including Home Depot and JCPenney, assigns individual customers risk scores based on their return behavior. Now, the risk they're talking about is the risk of return fraud. This is where consumers shoplift items and then return them for cash or a gift card. Retail Equation tracks actions that are commonly associated with return fraud, including returning a large percentage of your total purchases, returning a high dollar amount, returning an item after an extended period, returning goods that are often stolen, returning items without a receipt, or returning too many items in a short period. A bad risk score may be cause for a consumer to be banned from returning merchandise to Best Buy for a short period or even altogether. This is what happened to Jake Zacher, a Best Buy customer. Mr. Zacher said that he purchased multiple colors of a cell phone case for his sons and then returned the ones they didn't like. He showed the Wall Street Journal a copy of his Retail Equation report that had confirmed he had been banned from Best Buy for a year for returning 3 cell phone cases for a total of just $87. Now, to be fair, retailers lose a lot of money to actual criminals. The National Retail Federation estimates that return fraud costs retailers $15 billion a year. But Mr. Zacher's experience shows the problem with the kind of solution that Retail Equation delivers. The basic idea is a good one. Instead of making your return policies difficult for all your consumers, try to figure out the actual people who are stealing from you and then deal with them individually. But while that sounds good in theory, the problem comes when you try to implement these kinds of solutions across thousands of stores. The most efficient way to spot criminal behavior is with algorithms. So you look for behaviors that correlate with fraud, just like the returning too many things at one time behavior that caught up Mr. Zacher. Then the second problem is hiring a third party to do this. If you're smart, you don't create an incentive-based contract with this kind of company, because if you pay a fraud detection company based on how much fraud they detect, they're going to detect a lot of fraud. But even if you don't do that, these companies are going to try to detect fraud in the least expensive way possible without using actual humans. A human looking at Mr. Zacher's return behavior and purchase history, a few cell phone cases against thousands of dollars of electronic purchases at Best Buy, would probably have made a different decision. So here's our advice to Best Buy, to JCPenney, and companies like LL Bean who have moved away from famously open return policies to control costs. Add back the human element. Require a personal review of a consumer's account before automatically banning them from returning goods. Because once you've done that, you've lost that consumer forever. Unless they're a criminal, in which case they will be back in 12 months. Retailers tend to forget that while the bottom line matters, they can only increase it in the long run by retaining customers. Policies that punish good customers, even by accident, can do more than their fair share of damage. That's brand new for today. See you again next week.